Hi everyone, my name is Juliana and welcome to my channel. Today in this video I want to show you how I take beautiful fine art portraits with natural light only. First I want to start with a little story. A few years ago I've been taking portraits, natural light portraits, for some YouTube blogger, and she wanted to film it for her YouTube channel. And I remember one of the comments that I still remember by this day. Some woman commented, "She's not a real photographer, she doesn't even use light." Which I assume she meant artificial light because, well, I did use light. How can you not use light when you photograph somebody or something? The point is, the source of the light does not matter. What makes you professional is your ability to work with light. And already the source of light is a matter of preferences. For example, I use both. I like to use both artificial and natural light. To me, they're very different, but I love them both for different type of photography. But I know there's photographers who prefer only natural light and there's photographers who prefer only artificial light. And I want to point out that, in my opinion, there's absolutely no difference. There's a lot of high-level, very famous, world-famous photographers who use only natural light or mostly natural light, and there's obviously a lot of who use artificial light. It doesn't matter photography. It doesn't matter where is your light coming from the sun or from the light bulb. It's all about your ability to manipulate it in order to create a beautiful picture. Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how I use natural light in my studio. I'm going to show you a few ways and a few sets. They're very simple, and just to encourage you, in case if you may be starting out and you don't have any lights yet, or maybe you just love to take natural light portraits and you just want to get maybe some ideas or maybe pick up something new, hopefully. Okay. So the inspiration for this shoot was, I had my birthday recently and I got a very beautiful bouquet of flowers. There was some white roses and purple coral lilies and lavender, and I thought it was just so beautiful and I really wanted to use it and take pictures with it. So for the styling, to incorporate it, because I feel whenever you photograph flowers, depend on which one, but usually flowers, they're very gentle and soft, and that's what I wanted to do with the styling. So I didn't have any appropriate clothing, so I just wrap around some tulle around myself. And let me tell you, in my studio I have quite a few pieces of tulle. It works so great. I use it so many times if I don't have the right outfit, especially if you want to create that airy, dream, romantic, soft look. Tulle looks so well on the pictures, photographed beautifully. And also what I like about it, it holds shape, so you can actually put it on the head and create something nice. So that's kind of little styling tips for you. Okay, and for the hair, I wanted to create something soft and Renaissance type of thing, so I just curled my hair a little bit, but it will look very, very well with flowers. I didn't use any jewelry, nothing of that matter. So the thing with natural light, the main difference, well, many differences, but the difference with natural light and with artificial, that natural light usually have one source of light. In my case, it's a window, and you cannot move it. So what happens is you have to move it around. You have to move your subject and you set around your source of light. When you have artificial, you can actually move your stand with artificial light around the subject or around the set and position it the way you want it. So I'll show you the sets, how you can move your set easily and create different effects. So first I start with very basic light. I just had one gray background, and I would stand that the window would be, the camera would be facing background, but the light, the source of light, would be on the side, and that would create me, depending on how I would turn to the light, it would create me beautiful shadows. Well, beautiful, sometimes not very beautiful, right? I mean, that's the thing with Rembrandt light or with the side light, you have to be quite careful because sometimes it can create not very pretty shadows. In any ways, you can rotate your subject. That's what my point. When you take natural light portraits, don't be afraid to really rotate your subject a lot and change the angle of your camera. Obviously, because I have my camera on tripod, I don't have a chance to do that. So I try to well, I'm a little bit limited in this case, but what I'm doing, I'm just moving around and trying different angles, so I see how it will play on my face, how I'll create many shadows. So usually when I use side light, so again, the camera will be, think about camera on the front, so my source of light window will be on the side. So how I usually pose, and I think most flattering, is if you have your face toward the light, so it will create nice beautifully lit face, so it kind of reduces all the shadows from the face, but the body of your subject may be still facing the camera, so it will still create a beautiful defined shadows. Oh, I forgot to mention, I actually use the reflector on across the window. Obviously you cannot see it in the pictures, so I use the reflector just to create more definition, otherwise it will be all black, and I didn't want that. I wanted to still bring some definition. And for the first look, I used blinds on my window, and then I would remove it. That can create a big difference. The blinds are, think about as a grid, at the honeycomb grid that you apply onto your softbox or beauty dish or source of light. So what grid does? It narrows the light, it reduces the spill of light significantly. And what usually happens, it does creates more shadows and blacks. It still has that high contrast, but also because it reduces the spill, your background will be much darker. So you will see later, I started first with my blinds, with the blinds on the window, and then I open it up, and you will see the difference, how much the background and overall exposure would change of the image. So that's a tip for you, something to think. If you have blinds on your window, you can definitely use it to create multiple effects. So again, treat natural light just like any other source of light. You can modify it just like any other source of light. Yes, it might be not as easy because, for example, if it's window, curtains or blinds, they can be modifiers for your source of light. So play around with them to create different lighting effects. So here, as you see set number 1, on the top row you can see the ones with blinders, and on the bottom row you see the ones without, and instantly you can see that obviously the background on the first, the ones that I use diffuser, I use with the blinds, you can see that the background is much darker. And let me tell you, these are all raw, straight of the camera images, nothing has been done for it. I just I uploaded to Lightroom, pre-selected a little bit, and that's what you see. So this is completely raw images. So the type of light, as you remember, it comes from the side. So camera is on front, camera is here, and the light coming from here. So this type of light is very good to do profile pictures, because I think it travels, because the light travels so pretty. It's gonna highlight the shape of the face, the contour of the body, and also remember there is a V-flat white bounce reflector, white reflector on the side to provide this soft highlight here. Otherwise, if I wouldn't use reflector, it would be much darker. So for the side lights, for the side light type of light, whenever your source of light on the side, I really like to position and pose the subject either in profile or face or half of face. You see, most of the time my face turned to the side of light because it's more flattering, because it kind of reduces the shadows that you would see on the face if I would look straight. A good dramatic type of light, I mean, you can make your subject look straight in the camera, then you will have more defined shadows on the face. Just for females it doesn't really work that well. For males it's absolutely fine. I mean, you can do it for females as well, but females obviously like more their features look softer, but for male you can pose and you will have that like very awesome highlight on one side of the face and kind of darker on the other. So I find that for male subjects, side light and when they face front to your camera, it works much better. So let me put them one side to side so we can analyze them a little bit further. Okay, so this is the set number 1. Again, this is with blinders and this is without, and I've selected images which are very similar. Image number 1 with blinders, and as I mentioned, the blinders serve purpose of a grid, or like if you would put it modifier on your artificial light, it would be the honeycomb or like grid purpose. So what it does, it narrows the light, it reduces the spill around the subject, and also it creates much brighter highlights and darker shadows. Also it creates much more contrast, more stronger contrast between highlights and shadows. When without blinds, obviously there is much more light comes into the exposition, so everything is much more better lit, and as you see that this image much brighter overall, and the shadows are so much softer. Also, because there is no blinds, there is more light coming through the window, and remember there is white reflector in here. Because there is much more light coming to the and bounce from reflector, this side is much better lit apart from this one, because obviously here is the amount of light much less, so less light bounce from the reflector. So even though of course it gives that effect, it still highlights nicely the side, but not nearly as much as here. There's much more lighter, and it has overall it leads a little bit better and more even. So this type of image for me more moody. I like it, it's more dramatic. This one is more air, it's soft, it's brighter, it's lighter, softer. So it really depends on your preference, artistic preference, or the effect that you would like to achieve. For the next set, I added one more board. I get so many questions about my boards. So these are polystyrene boards. I picked them up, I think at Home Depot. You can get them at Lowe's or any home improvement store. These are 4 by 8 feet boards. I like them a lot, and I use stands for them, which I've made myself, and I have a video on my channel how to make stands for those boards, so you don't have to just put them just lie on your walls. You can actually move them and put them in any place in your studio that you like. I really like that. So I've created an kind of a corner with the board. So what is it? What for? To create that different lighting effects. So again, as I said, I don't have a chance to move my natural light, so I have to move all my set around. And with the corner, I just like the definition, because one board is darker than the other, and I just like the effect because it gives that more depth in your background, and I think it looks very pretty. So here's the set number 2, and for this set, you remember I've created a corner with my 2 boards, and I didn't use blinders. This is just the window light and 2 boards that I created corner. Now you might not like the corner where the 2 boards meet, that it kind of goes really in the center. It might not be something that you like. When you take close-ups, I agree, it doesn't look that pretty. In post, I would probably soften it a little bit, so it does not make it that pronounced, but it does work very well for full-length shots or mid-hip shots. So it seems that subject is within certain environment, not just has like a plain background behind. Also, the awesome thing about having a corner, you can shoot your subject from so many angles. You can just go around the subject, and you always have background behind them, if that makes sense. Like here, obviously I cannot show you because I had my camera on tripod, so I had to shoot with one angle only. Great thing about, and that's what I use that set, like a corner set, so often, probably every time when I take my portrait shoot, because I can move, I can shoot from here, and this wall will be as a background. I can shoot from here, and I can see here. I can shoot from another side, and another board will be as a background. So I don't really need to move my background as much, and I have so many angles and variation to move around the subject. And also because I have natural source of light, I cannot move the light. So with me moving with the camera around the subject, obviously camera catches different shadows and different effects on the subject. And then third set, I just did the simple front set. So I had my background, just like you see, this is from the third set. I had my background directly behind me and in front of the window, and camera would face me straight, so your subject will be nice, equally lit. I've shot with without blinds and with blinds because... Okay, and now we come to set number 3, when I show the front light. And I've selected images that are very similar, so you can see the difference. Now the only difference between set number 1 and set number 2, that here I can't put blinds again, and you can see a little bit spill on the background. It's from the blinds, you can see that. But actually that also happens when I use grid on the beauty dish sometimes, depend on how I position toward the subject, which usually does not bother me. I think it's kind of pretty effect and it adds a little bit. Okay, so as I mentioned, that the light is coming from here, it comes directional, and the camera is facing subject front, and the light source right behind the camera. So this is the most classic light. Your subject nicely lit. Probably go to light. If you don't know where to start, you can start with this type of light. It's one of the prettiest one, I would say, just because, you know, there is no shadows, not everybody likes them. And yes, so the thing is, you can see the difference in between, you can see the light intensity. And I want to mention again, as I mentioned for the set number 1, it's the matter of artistic taste. Here is more air and it's softer, and this one is more moody and dramatic, and it's really up to you to choose whichever you like most. Play around with your light. If you have modifiers, if you don't have blinds, if you don't have curtains, you can use diffuser. If you have like reflectors, they have sometimes that's 5-in-1, and they have diffuser as well, translucent fabric. If you don't have it, you can use any translucent fabric that you have. Or even if you don't have that, you can just go to the dollar store and get yourself a shower curtain. Just make sure that it's not transparent, you want it translucent. Or if you cannot find that, you can go to the, again, dollar store, any of the dollar store type of store. You can go to the party supply area and get white tablecloth, those plastic white tablecloth. It will cost $1, and those are very transparent because they're cheap, so they're very translucent, and you can use that as a diffuser and try to modify and see the effect. It will not give you the effect of the blinds because it's not the grid, but it will give you more diffused light, so the highlights will be more softer. Again, that's just some option for you that you can play around. Okay, so that was the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thumbs up if you did. Share this video to help my channel grow. I would really appreciate that. Subscribe for my channel if you haven't already. And if you want to see more of my pictures, please follow me on Instagram. It's @yulianachi_photo. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!